All right, Mr. Fernandez has $292.50 to spend on parking and admission to the aquarium. The parking will cost $15 and admission tickets will cost $18.50 per person, including tax. Write and solve an equation that can be used to determine the number of people that he can bring to, says the zoo aquarium, including himself. Show your work. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to underline the question that's actually being asked. And I'm specifically going to circle write and solve, because that means that's one thing I need to do, and that's the second thing I need to do. If I just find the answer to the question and actually don't write an equation, I am not getting full credit, okay? So, that is my S, my O. So, to make my KIB, I'm going to go back and reread my question. Mr. Fernandez has $292.50 to spend on parking and admission to the aquarium. I know, right? This means that's all he has. That is the total amount of money, right? So I'm going to say total. The parking will cost $15. I know when I pay for parking, I pay once. That's it. As soon as I go into the parking lot, they give me a ticket. When I leave, I pay and they let me out. I pay once, right? So I'm going to circle 15 and I'm going to say this is a one-time payment. Since it's a one-time payment and we're writing an equation, I know that 15 is probably going to be a constant. It's not going to be next to a variable. It's just going to be a number by itself. Okay? Continuing on, it says admission tickets will cost $18.50 per person. So that means every single time another person comes, we have to pay another $18.50. We have to keep adding $18.50. Repeated addition is multiplication, right? So I know that $18.50 is probably going to be multiplied by something else, okay? It says, all right, $18.50 per person, including tax, and then write and solve an equation. There is no more information that I need, besides the fact that we're looking for the amount of people that he could bring, so I'll start transferring. First things first, I'm going to say total equals $292.50. I also know I'm going to write I have a one-time payment. Equals $15. I know it's going to cost him $8.50 per person, and I also know we are trying to find the amount of people. When we don't know a number in math, we use a variable. Since we're talking about the amount of people, I'm just going to use P. So I'll put P in parentheses so everybody knows what P means when I write my equation. All right, L. Since my stuff is not going to be in like as neat of order as possible, I'm going to do these in different colors so at least you can tell them apart. So my L. Your L is basically going to be the same for almost every single question on this test. Your L is, I will take the information, create an equation, and solve for P. If you guys ever see solve for a variable, all that means is you need to figure out what is the actual value of that variable, okay? So, next thing, I'm going to actually write my equation. So, the one good thing, I know equations have equal signs. So I'm going to start with my equal sign. I also know that a total is usually on one side of the equal sign by itself. So I'm going to cross out total because now I'm using it. So I know that $292.50 will be on one side of the equal sign by itself. Now I can start using everything else. One-time payment of $15. I know I'm spending that money. I also know, right, if I want to figure out how much I'm spending in total, I have to add everything up. So that one-time payment of $15, I need to add that to the $18.50, right, that I'm spending per person. We don't know how many people we're actually bringing, so I'm just going to write P. But I know, right, if I wanted to figure out how much I'm spending in total just for admission tickets, I have to figure out how many people are coming and multiply that by the price of one ticket, which is $18.50. So that's what we're representing right here. The ticket price multiplied by the amount of people, which is what we're trying to figure out. Now I have a two-step equation that I could solve and I could do backwards, so I can figure out the value of P. I'm going to do that using PEMDAS. Let me rewrite that a little bit further. We do that using PEMDAS, but since we're trying to solve for the value of a variable, we're going to do PEMDAS backwards. First thing I need to get rid of is addition and subtraction. I see addition right here, so I'm going to get rid of this constant that's being added, right? I'm going to get rid of the 15 by subtracting. Whatever I do on one side, I have to do on the other side to make sure that my equation stays balanced. This positive 15 and this negative 15 cancel each other out. I'm left with the 18.5p. I'm left with my equal sign. And now I have to figure out what is $292.50 minus $15. That is $278.50. No, I'm wrong.
It's 277. It's 277.50.
277.50. So now I have a one-step equation. I have 18.5p is equal to 277.5. I know that 18.5 and the p are being multiplied. Well, actually, let me cross everything else out. I'm done with addition and subtraction. Now I know I need to tackle my multiplication and division. I see multiplication here. I'll do the inverse operation. I'll do division. Whatever I do on one side, I have to do on the other side. And to get rid of the 18.5 coefficient, I need to divide by 18.5. So if I do it on one side, I'll do it on this side. 18.5p divided by 18.5 just leaves me with 1p. And just so I'm not mistaken, $277.50 divided by 18.5
It's
is
15. It's 15. 15.
So now we have our solution, but we really actually don't know if it's a solution because solution means answer to a problem, but we don't know if we're correct yet. So for E, we know E is checking our work, and we actually have a way to check this, so we could just do our confirmation now. We do our confirmation by taking the original equation, which is 15 plus the 18.5 times P, but now we think we know what P is. We think it's 15, so we're gonna multiply it by the 18.5, and that is all equal to $292.50. So now that I'm actually trying to solve an equation and not solve for a variable, I'm going to use PEMDAS, but I'm going to use it in the correct order. First things first is parentheses. We do have parentheses, but I know that parentheses means multiplication. So I'm going to say we're done with parentheses. I don't see any exponents. So I'm going to say that we're done with exponents. First thing I have to do is multiplication and division. So I'm going to multiply this 18.5 times the 15, and we get $277.50. Now everything I didn't use, I have to bring down. I have my 15, equal sign, I have my total. We're done with multiplication and division. Our last step is addition or subtraction. All we have is addition, and if we add 15 to $277.50, we get $292.50. So both sides of our equation are equivalent, and we are done.